Hello class again and welcome to this particular video, and in here we're going to be exploring more about prefixes involving our metric system. And in this particular video, please make sure you grab a pen and paper and write the following bar work down, which is as follows. Our lesson is to explore prefixes with powers of 10, and our goal is to be able to use powers of 10 to order the prefixes, and finally here is to find equivalent units between prefixes. So when you're talking about prefixes, what are we talking about? On our previous video, we talked about prefixes to be the following based on our powers of 10. We talked about kilos, we talked about our hecto, we talked about our specific deca, and this then leads us now to number that is a specific unit, and the unit in this case is a number which is in this case 1, and this number is based on our specific metric system, and this metric system can be used to measure various things of an object. Like for example, you can measure the mass of an object, which is going to be in this case measured in grams. Some countries they use pounds. Another one is to measure the length of a specific object. You can use in this case meters. Some other countries they use inches. And finally here is measuring the volume of an object, and in this case here we use liters, while some other countries they use other forms like cubic meter or so. So a unit in this case is represented as 1. So in this case here, 1 greater is the prefix, which are deca is greater than our unit, and our hectare is greater than our deca, which is also greater than unit, and our kilo is greater than hectare, which is also greater than our deca, and also greater than our unit. Now we're going to look at other prefixes that are less than our unit. So our other prefixes that are less than our unit are as follows. We have our deci, we have our specific centi, and we have our specific one, which is milli. This can go lower, and in here this can go higher, but for our specific grade, we're going to be focusing on kilo, hectare, deca, unit, which is expressed as our specific suffix, which is going to be coming after our prefix when you're coming up with words that describe how much, which is our prefix, is our suffix, which is in grams, meters, or liters. And the same thing as well with the other side here, prefix. So that is how you want to connect prefix and suffixes in terms of metric system. So what are the other ways by which we can measure these kilo, hectare, deca, deci, centi, and meter in milli based on our powers of 10? In this case here, when we said 1 for this particular unit, and we said that to go from our unit to deca, it is bigger. Now, by how much? It means that in this case, 10 of our units will make a deca, which is like 10 years makes a decade. Well, that's how you put it. And then another one here is this: to go from unit to hectare. How do we measure that? That is actually 100 times in here. So which means 100 units makes 1 hectare. And finally here, what are we going to say about kilo? In this case here, 1 unit, 1,000 units makes a kilo. So 1,000 unit makes a kilo in this case here. And however, on the other side here, we said that this deci, centi, and milli are less than our unit. And so based on that, we know that deci is 100 times smaller than our unit, and that is written as 1/10. And the other one here for our centi is that it is 100 times smaller than our unit. So in this case, it's written as 1/100th. And finally here, our milli is 1,000 times smaller than our unit. And so this is written as 1/1000th. And so that is how you're able to go around making equivalence between our unit and deci, our hectare and our kilo, and from our unit to deci, centi, and milli. So another way to express this is by using our ladder system. And so through our ladder system, you can write this as going from bigger than unit, where in this case we can build a ladder and this ladder is going down, so bigger than our unit. We know that first is kilo and this is our prefix, and the next prefix here is hectare, and our next prefix here is in this case to be deca, and our next prefix now, normal prefix is now suffix, is our unit. And our unit consists of the following. We have our grams, which is our suffix, we used to measure the mass. Our other units that is used to measure our specific distance is known to be called meters. And then finally here, our unit used to measure our volume is called our specific unit, liters. And so in this case, once you have our unit, we can go take note that our unit is one, always one. Remember that. And then anything smaller than one includes the following. We have our deci, and we have our next one, which is centi, and our next one here is our milli. And so all these here, take note of them. You need to remember all these, they are truly important. And then you can go smaller in this case than our specific unit. So take note that the unit is still 1, as the unit here as well, bigger than our unit, is in this case 1 for the unit. So based on the number system, please keep this in mind that we're starting at, in this case, 1, and from 1, anything bigger, which is going to the upper stage of our unit, we know that our deca is going to be our unit times 10. And so 10 times our unit gives you deca, and 100 times bigger than our unit is hectare, and 1000 times our unit is kilo. Another way to express this, in this case, in terms of our powers, is as follows. Anything to the power of 3 shows that we have 3 zeros that comes after it. So in this case, 1000 is written as 10 to the power of 3. 2 zeros in this case is 10 to the power of 2. 1 zero is 10 to the power of 1. And on the other side here, when we are going from our unit smaller than our unit, in this case, deci is 10 times smaller than our unit, which is written as 1/10. And the other one here is centi, which means that it is 100 times smaller than our unit. And finally, our milli, it is 1000 times smaller than our unit. So in this case here, we are going now in terms of decimals, going from 1 over 10, it is written as 0.1. 1 over 100 is written as 0.01, and also here it is written as 0.001. This is also written in powers as, for fun, if you want to remember that, is 10 to the power of minus 1. The other one here is 10 to the power of minus 2, and this is 10 to the power of minus 3. You don't need to remember the powers one. When you get to upper grades, you're going to thank me when I share this with you. So this is how you're able to go and review and express how unit, which is our suffix, is connected to how much is our suffix based on the powers of 10. In here, going down means smaller than our unit, and here means that I'm going bigger than our unit. And there are a couple of ways to go about it in terms of questions. If I ask you a question here, what is, from here to here, when we measure this to be, in this case, 100 centimeters? We know that 100 centimeters will be equal to how many meters? 1 meter, exactly, because based on our unit, to go from 1 to centi, I need 100 centimeters to get to 1 meter, because in this case, meter take note, is our specific unit, and that M here, which is meter, is our unit, and our centi, this is our C, is the prefix. And this here doesn't have a prefix because it is our unit. So you're going from your unit, which is meter, to centimeter, which is right over here. So this is how you're able to use this. There'll be some questions that are going to come across on your activity where you're going to be differentiating one particular prefix from another and which one is bigger than the other, and also how that relates to the suffix. So thanks for following me through this. Truly appreciate it. Please let me hear your thoughts by that way, either through Google Meet or by email. By that way, I can talk to you all soon. Stay smart as always and believe in yourselves.